Hello, today I have the opportunity to speak with director Joe Raffa about the new film coming out this year, Downeast. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
It was a great film, and I want to get this right off my chest. Is I want to talk about the ending, but I know we can't.
Sure. Yeah,
So there's so many questions that I have, about that, but let's not dwell on that too much. I just want to let you know I really appreciate the way it ended because it was good.
thank you. That means a lot. I really appreciate that.
It was not what I was expecting. So definitely on a high note for anyone who's going to watch this film. Can you tell us a little bit about Down East and where that project came from?
Yeah, I was shooting a film in Maine with Ed Stevens, the producer and cinematographer of Downeast, when we met Greg Finley, who is a phenomenal actor. And he was living with this character and this story for a really long time. And we met with him, and I was honored that he trusted me enough to write the screenplay. And over the past, the next several months, we developed a script with Ed Stevens and Corey Pike until we got into a place we were proud of.
So obviously this is about a very well connected community, but it seems like it's well connected for on negative reasons. How can you talk about how that plays out in the film? How one person using fear can really control the entire neighborhood.
Yeah, I think it's a film about people that feel trapped, which is something a lot of us can relate to. Whether you're trapped with the setting that you grew up in, or the circumstances you were born into, or the decisions you made in the past, right? We always deal with that feeling of being trapped. So, I wanted to make a film that explores that, but also kind of ask the question: are we able to escape that? Are we able to create our own destiny, or do we fall victim to some of the choices we made in the past? And I wasn't interested in making a film where the protagonist goes up against the antagonist and then everything turns out okay. We were interested in making a film that deals with moral ambiguity, the gray area, people that feel like they're doing the wrong things for the right reasons, and that was something I was really passionate about exploring.
Yeah, I thought that it's interesting you mentioned that because that's something I was going to mention going forward was that gray area. There is no. I don't feel like there is a clear cut. I'm doing this for the right reasons. I'm doing this for my own reasons, and I think that I got that. Can you talk a little bit of Greg Finley's performance as Tommy? I really liked it. It reminded me of I can't remember the actor's name. He played Ghost in it's just escaping me right now. Um, Power. That's what it is.
He
Go ahead.
Greg did a phenomenal job. Again, he was living with the character for a long time, and he's got such a passion for Maine and Portland, where he grew up. Everything kind of just oozed out of him, right? With the location, the people we surrounded ourselves with, the community, the elements that we filmed in, all played a part in the performance for sure. But Greg is just a phenomenal actor, and somebody that makes acting look effortless at times, which really amazes me.
So Dylan Silver's Emma. I had a question for you regarding that character. If it wasn't for what her brother's going through, how much does she actually come back home? Because it seems like she already has her life, her career established, and it takes a tragic event to really bring her back home.
Yeah, I think casting Dylan was essential. We had to find the right actor to play Emma. And I've done a film with her in the past. I worked with her very briefly on a film called Film Fest, which was just released recently, directed by Marshall Cook and also shot by Edwin Stevens. But I didn't really have her on my radar. And then when her audition tape came through, uh, and I watched the first minute of her tape, I was like, that's Emma. That's who we're looking for. And we didn't even realize what we were looking for, but she brought a sadness and a guiltiness to the role that existed. And it's a tough subject because she is saddled with this trauma and she's looking for closure. And a lot of the experiences I've had when I was interviewing people that dealt with grief and exploring that, a lot of times the closure they're looking for just doesn't exist. It's not there. So we really wanted to explore that with their character. And I think Dylan did a phenomenal job navigating not just somebody who's saddled with trauma, but somebody who's being reintroduced to somebody that they really care about and they've had a history with their whole life in Tommy. And she played that balance perfectly.
So was it really Emma that kind of sparked Tommy to start making changes, or was it already that he was starting to be fed up with the situation? We see him start to try and pay off his father's debts, try to do things for the better. But it seems like as soon as Emma shows up, it is really the catalyst to kind of taking a bigger leap. But like I was mentioning, it seems like Tommy was already, kind of fed up with being trapped in that position.
Yeah, I think Emma was definitely the catalyst for him. He was frustrated, but I think he had a certain level. He was complacent in a lot of ways. And Emma is really the only character in the film with a strong moral compass. We talked about that moral ambiguity. She's the only one really driving Tommy to do something noble, or what we call correct or right. And she's kind of pushing the story forward in that regard. And really, I'm a huge fan of the show The Sopranos. And in a lot of ways, it's a project that's kind of filled with characters that don't have a lot of redeeming qualities. And in that show, Adriana is kind of the only one with hope or the opportunity to escape. And for me in this film, Emma is really the only one with an opportunity to get out of there. And I want her to get out of there so bad. And I'm not going to spoil anything, but we definitely explore that direction.
Yeah, part of all the questions that I have that I cannot ask. I don't want to ruin the film for anyone. It's a great film to watch. What is the power of reminiscing maybe on where you grew up, how you grew up, the people you grew up, to making better changes in the present?
Yeah, I think, where you come from is a huge part of what makes you who you are. It's impossible to ignore that. Growing up, I was born in Philly and I grew up in South Jersey. So much of me was developed there. Not only did I grow up there and my family's there, but it's such a unique place. So I feel like, if you're born there, you're a very unique individual. And it wasn't until I moved to LA 7 years ago that I really, opened my eyes to how specific that region was. And I think the same thing could be said for Portland. Portland's filled with a lot of amazing people. And the film itself, the plot of the film, is not representative of Portland. The Portland is a beautiful city, and it's a strong character in our film. But the film is mostly fictional. Portland is one of my favorite cities in America, from the food to the people to the salt stained structures there. It's really amazing.
Any challenges in filming this? Did you have a tight schedule maybe or something?
Yeah, I think, in indie film, it's always tight, schedule wise. You have to get what you can get. And I think the cold was a double-edged sword for a while. It was really, really cold shooting there in Maine, but at the same time, it gave the production a certain energy and a certain feel. You could costume the characters, throw them in the elements. And as a director, I kind of just stayed out of the way and I watched them perform.
Watch them have natural cold.
Yeah.
A final question for you, Joseph. What do you hope people take away from the film?
I think film is at its strongest when it's a shared experience. When you could find a character in a film and say, I felt that way too. And through these shared experiences, I think that's how we grow as a community, as humans. So I hope when somebody watches this film, they find a character they relate to and say, at one point I felt that way, and I'm not alone.
Joseph, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. Downeast,
Thank you.
That was a great film. You guys did a great job. And again, thank you for your time. And we hope to see you on the next one.
I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right, take care.
See ya.